So guys, it's time for another video where we're going to be speaking about what I've been up to in the past, let's say, month or so. But you know what? I might as well tell you that I've just been hanging out with my new mate here. Me and this horse are apparently now best friends, aren't we? Maybe not. Anyway, yeah, this is a video that I like to make every month as he just stares at me. I've been playing with him for a very long time. I'm trying to tell him, I've got to get on with actually filming some videos. I've got to film some videos. Anyway, and I make these videos for two reasons. Now, the first reason is so I can obviously log my progress. For example, I've been making videos like this for, let's say, about a year. If I look back at the videos where I speak about what I was doing in my personal life, let's say in August of 2024, which is not that long ago, I can obviously see a big contrast, and that's quite motivational to look back on. Now, the second reason why I make these videos is not just to sort of log what's going on, not just to log what's going on, but also so I can sort of kind of guide myself and evaluate in real time. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. No one really evaluates stuff. No one really realizes what they've been doing and speaks about why and what they could do going forwards. Now, these videos, I'm not sure how entertaining they are. Some of the videos that I make, I intend for entertainment, or some of them I intend for a story to be told. These videos are obviously telling a story, but more so personal documentation for me. So if you enjoy watching them, that's great. If you don't, I also understand. I add them to the playlist called My Personal Development for that reason, so I can look back on it. Now, for this particular episode, which we are filming in April, to make sense, you've got to watch a video that I filmed prior to this one, and that's going to be in the series too. I spoke about how my health in the past month has been actually a bit of a challenge, actually a bit longer than that. It's been a challenge, and obviously that's impacted how things work. Now, I'm not going to explain the full 10-minute video over again, but what I am going to do is briefly touch upon it so it makes a bit more sense. He does have a very, very pretty haircut, doesn't he? Or she, I'm not sure. So I'm going to touch upon the basics of it. And the basics of it, to cut a long story short, again, if you want a full story, you can watch that video. I was very ill, and I don't mean like a cold or flu, I mean like seriously ill. Normally, I'm a very active person who's always out, always doing stuff like talking to horses like a weirdo. Over the past month or two, I wasn't able to do very much. I used to go to the gym 2-3 times a week, ride my bike, again 2-3 times a week, even in winter. It got to a point where my health was that bad, it felt difficult actually walking down the stairs. So that's all documented in a separate video, but that has obviously impacted the way that I've been doing stuff. With that being said, the one thing that I can be proud of looking back is the fact that I am still doing stuff, and I was still doing stuff all the way through this period. Admittedly, there's been times where that's not been as much as I'd liked it to have been, but I have still done stuff basically every day. Now, this week has been probably the only prolonged period where I've done very little. And even in that period, when I say do very little, I mean on work. I've been out and about every single day. It's obviously been a bit of a physical challenge to do that, but we've got to do what we've got to do. And I guess I'm lucky, I've got friends to see, people to meet, stuff to do. So it's been that sort of stuff this week. Really though, I'm touching upon both May and April. April and May. No, March and April, when I speak about this sort of subject, because obviously I didn't film a video at all really last month, so I'm talking about the two. What did I actually get up to, and what happened? Well, the first thing that I need to obviously note is that I didn't do as much stuff as I'd like, for the reason that I'd outlined. eBay, still going very well, and to give you a bit of an update on that, because I know a lot of you guys think, or want that to be the main topic for this channel, when it comes to eBay, I've actually changed tack quite a little bit. Now, I'm not going to lie to you at all. I had a successful business, and obviously still do, selling relatively inexpensive items. Most of the items in my store went up to a value, let's say, of a total of £250, would be the highest priced item. My logic behind this up until this point of filming the video has been that reduces risk slightly, and that is true. So what I mean by that is, even at this level, right, items go missing, items get lost, customers want refunds, returns, you do lose money sometimes. This is an inevitability. Isn't that right? It's an inevitability. So, with that being the case, my logic was that if I sold cheaper items, I would have less to risk. And at the time that I was rebuilding my eBay business, let's say last year, winter, um, to now, I didn't want to risk that much money. I didn't have money to risk, right? But now where I'm at now, I've been doing the eBay stuff for probably a year, well, more than a year, probably like 2-3 years now. I don't even know. 2 years, I'm going to say off the top of my head. I've been doing it a long time. I know how it all works. I understand that things are going to go missing. With that being said, I've changed in my personal business. I don't necessarily recommend that you do this unless you've got money to lose/waste. I've changed the risk tolerances. I understand, and obviously earlier on understood, that whilst eBay made me a nice amount of money, you were never going to get rich selling 30, 40, 50 pound items. Or you could, but you'd have to sell a massive quantity. What can become a lot easier is selling a lot less items at a much higher price. So over the past, let's say 2 months, maybe a bit more, I've kind of switched a lot of my items out. Now, do I still sell cheap items? Yeah. Today I've had 2 sales, one for £45 and one for £40. So I do still sell items in that price range quite a lot. And the reason for that is because, like I say, I do have a successful business there. It's a business that makes me still thousands of pounds a month. So I wouldn't axe it off, especially when it's a risk to try and start the new tack. With that being said, I can still try and list new items, and therefore that's what I've been doing. Complete new category where I've been selling more expensive stuff. Now, of course, as it is all drop shipped, I'm not going to tell you the exact category. I think that's understandable. But now I'm selling items quite often, actually, and it's quite exciting, for prices between, let's say, £100 and even £1,000. I had an order the other day for £800. That was the largest that I've had yet. And that was super exciting. So does that come with an increased risk? Yes. But let's face it, guys, I'm not saying it to brag, I'm telling you the truth, right? I do this eBay stuff, I made enough money for it, I can afford to risk, let's say, £1,000 on lost goods. And if you think about it, so if the first 10 orders go missing, that might be £1,000 worth of £1,000 worth of losses. But after, let's say, 10 orders, the profit is going to be so high, it's exactly the same as if a £30 item goes missing. The difference is that, say, if an £800 item goes missing or a customer wants a refund or a return, most people can't part with £800 or take a loss of £800 and absorb it. Fortunately, at the minute, I can. And also, like I say, after the first 10 orders is done, you've made that much profit. That £800 is exactly the same as losing £30. The numbers are just different, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but it works out. So that's been a new strategy. That has obviously helped me to boost revenue and profitability significantly. Now I'm selling stuff for much higher prices. As a percentage of profit, we're not really making much more. Okay, before it might have been profits of, let's say, 25-30%. The same is basically true, but sometimes now it can be up to 35% or so. Are you going to keep interrupting? He's not going to interrupt. So the profits have changed a little bit, but really it's the same. So as a percentage, it's the same, but as I'm sure you can imagine, as a actual number, the number is very, very different. It's a lot more. So I guess that's kind of the first thing. And again, like I say, I'm still selling the cheaper items, but the more expensive ones are now selling a lot more frequently too. Stop sneezing. So now, it gives me a lot. It gives me a lot more money to play with, and that's just the honest truth of it, right? So now I can basically sell less items, make more money. It's a lot. It's a lot easier, to be honest. It's the same business. It's exactly the same, just bigger items. You still list as much, still sell as much as you can. Just the numbers are different, and of course that translates into more bank profitability. The thing that I didn't like about eBay, or haven't liked about it up until this point, is it is seemingly, and I know this is a thing, right? So people need to understand the context here. In context of a job, eBay is very, very easy. It's no 40-hour a week, no sat in an office. It's really, really easy. In context of a semi-automatic business, it has been quite difficult because you can put in a certain amount of work and essentially there are easier ways to make money. it's one of the easiest and quickest ways to make money. You can make money very quickly, but you might have to put up 5 listings a day, 10 listings a day. Whereas something like YouTube, let's say, if you get that very, very well flowing, it can be as little as 8 minutes, 10 minutes of work a day. And look at how simple it is comparatively. So by selling more expensive items and making more profit, the return on investment becomes significantly better, the return on time becomes significantly better, and it makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? So that's helped me a lot in terms of changing the figures, and I've just been carrying on listing the same way that I always have been, right? We're talking around about 25 a day. That's not been true this week. I'm not going to lie to you guys, right? This week I've been doing a lot less, but you know, I'm not going to complain because life is life. And one thing that my illness has taught me is that very fact. I've always been someone focused on building a business, building a future, and it's all well and good building a future, guys. It actually is, of course. But sometimes you just want to focus on building it now because you don't know, not to go all sentimental on it, but you don't know how long you're going to have the ability to do that for. So, eBay is going well, and my main other big story, and I only like to tell you guys about the stories that are working, not for any other reason than I like to give you guys positive stories, positive information, and give you hopefully motivation, right? So one of the big things that's been working out well for me is YouTube. Not over here though. Now, I have a separate YouTube channel to this one. I've spoken about that before. I like to keep it separate, so I know a lot of people want to know the name. I prefer not to tell you guys. No reason other than it's just a very separate entity, right? This channel has over 13,000 subscribers. It's been inactive for 2, 3, maybe 4 years now. And I just wondered, you know, can I restart this? There are a number of reasons why I'd obviously want to do this. Number one is for diversity. And this might make sense when I explain it, right? So eBay's great. And again, it makes me a full-time income. I'm perfectly happy with it. It's very low workforce required. At the same time, if eBay gets shut down, if my account gets shut down, or if sales stop or anything like that, you're very, very exposed to a period of not earning very much money. You might make a little bit from, say, this YouTube channel or Patreon, and that can be, you know, hundreds, maybe thousands even a month. It depends on how many income sources and how strong they are in that given time. But it's not great. So the plan has been, see if I can restart that channel. Now, I didn't really expect very much to work with that because, well, it's been inactive for years. I think the little horse was going to sleep, bless him. So I think I thought it was not going to work too well. I had my doubts, but I thought, look, it's very easy. I've got nothing to lose. So I started making videos. First couple didn't do well. Now we are a quarter of the way back to getting monetization on that channel. And the good news for those who don't understand how the system works, I'll explain it briefly. That is a finance-related channel. So all that means is that the ads on that channel, the advertisements, are worth significantly more, say, than this channel. So for every 1,000 views, you're going to get more money. So that's been really good. And again, hopefully maybe next month or the month after, I'm going to get ads turned back on that. And in the past, it's not been very difficult to get that YouTube channel to a point where it's earning £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 a month. It has been done. It can be done very, very easily. Now, of course, again, 2 benefits to that. Number 1, money coming in is good. Number 2, more money coming in is even better. Number 3, again, that diversity element. And number 4, I'm just trying to build all of these businesses. So, at the same time, like I say, I've been quite ill. This is context. This is very important context, by the way, for a lot of the reasons why I've been doing what I've been doing and what I've been doing and how it's been working out. I've had to use the time a bit more wisely. Before this period, I would happily do 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, basically sat at a computer in a day. Now, of course, that's not 12 back-to-back hours. I might go for a walk around town, or I might, anything, right? It doesn't even matter, but I wouldn't do 12 back-to-back hours or even 8 back-to-back hours, but I would easily do 8 hours worth of stuff. That's not been the case very much. I've been spending most of my time sleeping. That's just the truth, right? So for that reason, I've this month or in the past 2 months had to make things more efficient. I couldn't spend that much time doing stuff like Amazon, and that sort of thing. I've just had to think about what's going to give me the biggest return on investment. And obviously that relates, in terms of business, to focusing on those 2 streams. Now, the second good thing that, well, it's a controversial one, but something that I've been looking, I don't even want to say that, but something that I'll just say it, something that I've been kind of looking forward to is cheaper stock prices, perhaps even a market crash. Now hear me out, because I already know some people are going to say it's a dumb thing to say, it's a rude thing to say, it's an ignorant thing to say. I already know that's true. I've been speaking about it on this channel for years. Well, maybe a year now. And I know a lot of people have said it. I know it's nothing new. I know I'm no expert. And I know my opinion could have just come to truth by chance. I've been saying for about a year that the stock market, I think, has been overvalued. Now we've got obviously all of this Trump tariff stuff shaking the markets like crazy. If I'd have held stocks like everybody had said from the time period that they said it in, I would have probably lost a significant value of money. But instead, I held cash. Now, obviously, the stock market could keep going up from here. It's hard to say. But I said this to my mom, I said this to my friends, and I'm going to make a separate video on it. I don't make a video like this as an I told you so, but inevitably at some point the market crashes. Now, of course, it could go up significantly, then you're buying even at more expensive prices once it does crash, if that makes sense. But I kind of saw something coming, right? So, luckily for me, as the market declines, and I don't say this with any sort of gloating or pride, it is just what it is, right? You gotta make of it what you can. As the market declines and crashes, I have thousands, actually even tens of thousands really, to invest in these lower prices. And that's just the truth. I don't say that as a brag, I say it as a fact. And now we're seeing a point, even yesterday, I'll give you yesterday for an example, right? Tesla stock went up nearly 25% at the time of filming this video. This was after a big dip. But let's say you had £10,000 to put in Tesla stock, and let's assume it went up 25%, right? You would have made a significant value, thousands of pounds, in a single day by just having 10 grand to invest. If it had been 20, even better. If it had been 100, even better. So this is why having money is important. Money to invest, free capital, right? And I always knew this, but now it's being kind of shown. I know that the market crash or a market crash isn't a good thing for anyone, really. And it's not. But look, there's always winners, there's always losers. And I don't say this to brag or anything like that. Money doesn't disappear unless it's quantitative tightening, which is not what's going to cause a market crash, most likely. Money doesn't disappear, it just changes hands. So I'm going to film a back-to-back video off of this one where I speak about this. But, you know, for my young people, this is an interesting thing. Because you run a business anyway, you make enough money, or even you have a job, right? You make a significant amount of money or a certain amount of money. And if the stock market crashes, let's say 20% or 50% or more, and you buy in, let's assume it goes up 20% or 50% or more. What sort of money are you going to have? So again, if it went up 50% or 100%, which is not that unbelievable in the next 10 years, right? It's not that unbelievable. And you had 10 grand right now and went up, let's say 100% in the next 2-3 years. I'm not saying it will or won't. You'd be a lot better off than you would be now. Or Bitcoin, let's say, for example, right? Any sort of investment. Having money to invest is a good thing. So that's not really even something that I can call under my own merit. I mean, yeah, it was my own merit that I got the money and made the money. But no, that's just been taking sort of advantage of the opportunities that have been thrown my way. It's a really interesting time. I've not really got that much else to speak about. Obviously, I've had a lot of personal things happen, but I don't know how much of that you guys tune in for. I'm going to be talking a lot about that sort of stuff anyway, but I know a lot of you guys are here for the business-related stuff, and everything's been going well. I've been making money, same way as always, actually a little bit more, and looking to make money in easier ways. Not necessarily because I'm lazy, maybe I am, who knows, but because I'm trying to be practical about this. I've said this before on the channel, right? I would consider moving to another country, or at least traveling to other countries for a prolonged period of time. Having a job makes that, or can make that, quite difficult. Now, people who say that it doesn't are people who only have an income source from a job. That's okay, nothing against that, that's brilliant actually. At least you're able to get yourself up to something every single day and do it, that's good. But at the same time, look, if you're making, let's say the average UK salary is 30 grand, but let's say it's 35, let's say it's 50 grand. Let's say the UK average salary is 50 grand, which it isn't. If you're making 50 grand or 45, let's say 45, because you still don't have to pay for a car. You don't have to have a car. You don't have to pay for a car. You don't have to pay for lunch at the office, potentially parking, fuel, or bus fare, or train fare, so on, office clothes, all that sort of stuff. You'll be okay off, right? If you're making average salary, and you can do it online, a job means something very different. So I'm not saying this in any sort of a way. I'm just giving you guys the latest update. I've been investing in stuff. I've been trying to make money in more ways. And now that I see this potential of a market crash, I don't want to sort of gloat about it or glorify it, because it's not a good thing for anybody. But you got to make the best of what you can. I want to get more money. Because, again, if let's say you make 50% or 100%, let's say you make 100%, just for ease of numbers. I'm not saying that you will. Let's just make the numbers easy. So let's say you make 100% return on investment, you put in 10 grand and you make, and you get back 20. Well, obviously then you're going to wish that you'd have put in 20 and you make back 30. And then so on and so forth. So having more money in bad times is not going to be a bad thing. And then, by the way, let's assume that a market crash, the other side of it. If the market does crash, we're talking about job losses, we're talking about increase in inflation, potentially increase in costs of everything, lower job security. You're going to want money anyway. You're going to want money anyway. So this is one thing that I can be proud of myself for. And again, this is perhaps a different video, but this is me explaining my side of things, right? You make hay while the sun shines. You don't know when things are going to go bad. And I guess it's one thing that I learned when I was 20, maybe 21. Obviously, I still am 21, but last year, let's say, when my car broke down and I was quickly made broke, I quickly realised for the first time as an adult how financially insecure you are unless you've got a lot of money. And I don't mean like 5 grand, I mean like 25 grand minimum. You're very insecure unless you have that. You know, getting evicted, losing your job, your car breaking down, these things can massively be financially ruinous. And again, you don't want to miss out on investment opportunities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to film that next video now. That's a side point. But that's just an overview of my month, guys. I don't know if it's any interesting stuff for you to listen to. Again, I've got some more personal factors which I am more than happy to share with you in a separate video, but that's it for now. The little horse has gone to sleep. Oh no, he's not actually. I think he's over there. There he is, bless him. The little horse has gone to bother someone else or something. Yeah, that's it, guys. I enjoyed sharing this sort of stuff with you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, give it a like and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you soon. Goodbye.